This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz. Very excited to be speaking with Nahnatchka and Sally Bradford McKenna about Blade. How are you both doing today?
Good.
Good.
Nice
Thank
to talk to
you.
you.
Can you tell me about the genesis of the show and how it came to be?
Yes, John Davis, who's a EP on the show, got the rights to the Australian format of Laid, and they did two seasons of it in 2011, and he pitched it to me. I watched it. I immediately texted Sally in the height of COVID, in the beginning of COVID,
3 weeks in,
3 weeks into
the
COVID,
darkest time.
darkest time of COVID. And I was like, please watch this. And she did. And she
Yes.
was like,
I was like,
yes.
I'm in.
And we immediately started talking about what we would do and how we would update it and bring it in for an American audience. And yeah, and that was kind of the beginning of the process.
What were the key modifications for an American audience?
Um, I think for sure, really leaning into the darkness of the death and having that continue on, and also weirdly leaning into the romance, the idea that this woman like consumes media like the rest of us, so she has an idea of what love should look like, and it's not anything close to what she's experiencing in real life, and she can't figure out why those two things aren't connecting. And then also the sense of entitlement that she feels and a little bit of narcissism where she's like, I deserve, like, I'm a good person, aren't I? Like, why is this not happening? Kind of really leaning into all of those parts was something that we were excited about.
I enjoyed the chart and map just tracking everything, the sexual history and the partner died, everything. How beholden were you to rules and to make sure that everything was logically sound and not just entertaining to watch?
Yes, very. I think day one, or definitely week one in the writer's room, we put up her sex timeline on the board, and it definitely changed as we went, but we stuck to it. I think the one thing we were a little bit loose with was how much the rules of how much time in between and time between deaths. We played a little bit with that. But I think we were very like we had who the guy was, how long they dated,
Hmm.
what happened. And we found it more as we went. And I think we discovered more about her character as we went as well, to figure out like not just who were these people that she dated, but who was she when she dated them, and her having to look back at that and go, who was I when I was making tahini with this guy?
Because
Yeah.
it's true. Like it's a little bit of a way for us to time travel without literally time traveling, but like for her to go back through her sexual past and find out who she was really. And we had like marked, big loves. Like how many big loves did she have? First love is different than big love, and
Hmm.
who broke up with her? Who did she break up with? How did they end? Like all of those elements were, came into play.
Well, I have not had a chance to finish the season yet, but is this something that can continue, or are we looking at a closed loop?
Definitely can continue. We don't know about that yet, but season one ends definitely on a note of what happens next. So we would love to keep going.
Right? And I know that when you talked about first having an idea for the show, that was obviously before everything everywhere all at once and where people really knew who Stephanie was. At what point did she enter the conversation?
I think when we had our script and everyone was excited about it, and then we started talking seriously about who could be Ruby, and it's such a tricky character because there are so many tones, and the performer has to be able to hit all these different levels, and the comedy and the drama and the emotions, and um, she was the name that everybody across the board, us, the studio, Peacock, like everyone was like, we love her. Would she do this? And that's always the big question. We had no idea. And then when she read it and was like, I'm into it, we were so excited.
For those who aren't sufficiently enticed by the title or her presence, what's the big sell you have? What is this show going to remind people of, and where what new level will it take them to?
I think that's the sell is it's not going to remind them of anything. We try to think of like what is this like, and there's little bits and pieces you can go that's kind of like this and that's kind of like this, but it really is we hadn't seen anything like this when we heard of the original. And it just felt like such an area of like there's so much to mine here, so much comedy, so much, tragedy. I think people are going to be surprised by it. I think what's going to be cool about it is how unexpected everything is. They just will not know, like, what show is this? I'm watching a rom-com and suddenly someone's getting hit by a car. So I think the surprise of it is what we're excited about.
Yeah, and the mystery element too.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, so it's nice to see two of you working together again on something that I think maybe Ruby is a slightly better person. I don't know, but certainly a different, non-broadcast audience for this one.
Definitely, for sure. Thank you. Yeah, there's shades of Chloe in Ruby for sure.
Well, thank you both so much, and best of luck. Looking forward to seeing the end of the season and what's to come after that.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.